Welcome back, folks, to the final 6 holes of the College Disc Golf National Championships. I'm Pavvo Stubstad, joined by John Baker, TD of this event and Director of College Disc Golf. On the front 7 of this 13-hole round, we saw the players struggling with an extremely punishing course, the Gorge here out at North Cove, and punishing conditions on top of the punishing course. It's been a rough one.
Yeah, the conditions have been brutal for our players, and I think it's going to be a battle of attrition here, and you just want to keep your score as close to par as possible.
And here we reflect on our scores from the front 7. As you can see, a lot of red and purple. It was challenging out there. Calvin, so far, shooting the hot round on our card, even through 7 holes, which is incredibly good. I mentioned it in the front 9, but I'll mention it again here. 3 over was 1,000 rated, or just over 1,000 rated on this layout today. So that's how hard the course was playing. Hole 8 here is a 584-foot par 4. The tee shot really demands a high anhyzer or a high forehand, or the inverse of that if you're left-handed, up into this landing zone here. And then a right to left shot into this very sloped green with an elevated basket. I believe this basket was not elevated last year.
No, you're definitely right about that one, Pavvo. We see some more tight trees off the tee pad too, really forcing you to commit to your line here.
Calvin chips a forehand out there. That looks good. Shane going higher and wider. I was a little surprised by that. Still in play, though. You kind of have a huge landing zone for this first shot. This hole, the challenge comes in on the second shot. The first shot, you just got to miss that one tree in the middle, and you're good. Caleb playing another high forehand shot.
I would say on this one, the more right you are, the more angle you have to access the green as well. So I like to play the high position shot here, get that drift left as much as you can, or right, excuse me.
I agree, which is why I was surprised to see a few players taking that left gap off of the tee when both gaps are pretty generously sized. And here we see Shane's second. There was actually about a 25-minute delay prior to these second shots. There was an unfortunate incident on the card in front of these players where a player's mom who was walking along and maybe caddying slipped on the muddy slope and broke her ankle.
Oof.
We couldn't quite see how those ended up. I glossed over it talking about that incident, but I believe Shane's second shot went OB down the hill to the left of the pin. There is an OB line down there that I neglected to mention during the drone preview.
Yeah, and this hole plays significantly uphill. You know, the camera never does it justice, but this is a severe slope to get up to this green.
Yeah, very steep. It's a tiring round out here, even in good conditions with all the slopes.
Yeah, and because we're between 2 ridge lines here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, when the rain settles in, it really sets in for a while, and we notice it kind of takes a while for it to get out of the valley here.
And there we saw Shane taking his relief from the OB line where the card estimated that he crossed. So this is his 4th shot from here. And he's going to be taking a bogey with that penalty. As you can see, the rain is picking up as well. Noah gave that a good, honest bid for birdie. He's there for the par. And here's Caleb for birdie. Wow, what a putt.
Great putt from Caleb. That was huge. Traveling all the way from Oklahoma, I know this has got to be a unique experience for them playing on this elevation here in North Carolina.
Great putt from Calvin as well. Wow, after a 25-minute break, the players resume play, and it's like they never cooled off. Impressive putts from both Calvin and Caleb there. And there's Shane tapping in the bogey after that unfortunate penalty stroke. And we're going to have Noah drop in a par here. And he's off to bake more cookies. And here we take one more look at our biggest putt of the round so far from Caleb Fennell. Couldn't have been any cleaner.
No, that release was smooth too, Pavvo. That spin was absolutely on axis, no wobble there. Great shot from Caleb.
And as you can see here, we have skipped some holes from hole 8 to hole 12, as this is only a 13-hole round. Hole 12, one of the signature holes out here on this entire property, 986-foot par 5. Hazard bunker we just flew over there. OB on and beyond the cart path on the left. OB line along the trees on the right as well. And the basket is on an incredibly steep, albeit short, hill here where any putt that hits basket can easily roll back down the hill towards you or to the right and end up OB, because the OB line continues all the way up there to the green.
Yeah, I'm not jealous of the players playing in these conditions, but I have to say I would love to throw this shot.
Oh, Calvin just clips a twig off of the tee there, but actually he made it far enough to be safe. That entire hillside there is out of bounds, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're correct about that one, Pavvo. Barely missing the bunker. It's a great shot from Caleb. Oh, if that hooks up.
Come on. Oh, yeah. Great shot from Noah there.
Dead center, flat footing. He's going to like that one.
I like this line from Shane as well. Oh, wow, that disc is more stable than I thought out of his hand.
Yeah, unfortunately, that stability took him into the bunker hazard there, Pavvo.
Yeah. And here we have Calvin's second shot from just at the base of the hill. And he turned that one over a bit. There is that OB line on the right. Can it fight? No, it didn't fight back in time. That's very close. He's going to be throwing his third from there. And here's Shane from in the hazard bunker throwing his third. Nice conservative hyzer, keep it in the middle of the fairway. With an OB lined fairway like this, that's a pretty smart play. Ooh, Caleb turned that one over too much. Can it find a way through the trees? No.
It's tough playing in these wet conditions sometimes, Pavvo. You expect the disc to lose a little bit of grip, and then sometimes you get a little bit more than you expect, and you end up turning it over.
That is very true. You're worried so much about the early release with the wet hands and stuff that you end up overcompensating, and there we see another example of it. I gotta say, Noah always had a great attitude out there. Even after a bad shot and a penalty stroke, he's just laughing about it, enjoying himself. I love seeing those vibes on the card.
Love to see the Cincinnati teammate caddy there. I believe they called themselves the Disc Cats, this team.
That's a good-looking shot from Calvin there. Just stay safe. Oh, man. The OB gets just really close up by the green there. Shane throwing a hyzer up there.
That's it.
He's good. A very steep uphill putt coming his way. Caleb, after the penalty stroke, throwing his fourth, I believe.
I like that shot, Pavvo. Playing till the safe, most flat side of the mound, I guess you could say, and just taking his easy little 15, 20-footer there.
Yeah, that seems like the smartest play on upshots here, is just crash them into the hill, 10, 15 feet left of the basket. No reason to flirt with that left to right slope on the right side of it.
Yep. Unless you can do like Noah and put it really close on him Just very close.
And here's Calvin. Yeah, that was a rough one for Calvin.
Yeah, after seeing him play so consistently, putting in a few birdies there, I was surprised to see him go out of bounds twice on this hole.
And that disc may look like it's in the basket there, but that's an optical illusion. Now you can see it there on the ground behind it. Ooh, that almost spit back out.
Yeah, we've already seen Noah have one of those spit outs. I'm glad we didn't see a second one there.
I love it. After every shot, good or bad, lucky or unlucky, he's just got a big grin on his face. He's just out there loving life and loving the sport of disc golf.
Yeah, we see that from a lot of our collegiate players. They're just very grateful to be out here representing their school, having a good time, partying with their teammates. We see a lot of them staying in Airbnbs, sharing spaces. So, we love to see that camaraderie out on the course and the positive energy.
Shane taking the bogey there. And Calvin with the unfortunate double bogey. Man, his round was going so good until that point. He's still only one over. It's still a great round, but it was fantastic before that.
Yeah, I hope he can bounce back from that one and get it back close to par and maybe throw in a few strokes under par there before the end.
And we skip another couple of holes after hole 12 and jump to hole 15, a 444-foot par 4, tongue twister there. This is very reminiscent of hole 3, where this area the drone is flying over now is safe, kind of a peninsula between these two cart paths. And then everything you see in the grass between here and the green is out of bounds, and the green is an island. You got to get past those rocks, but stop short of the creek. And again, like hole 3, there is a drop zone on the peninsula for drives that go OB, and there's a drop zone on the island for second shots that go OB.
Yeah, this is one of the most uniquely designed holes on this course. I like to see the different approaches we see here. Looks like we have Caleb going with the forehand.
And he's going to be down in a ditch, but he is safe down there. There's some water, but it's casual.
Noah hanging that one out a little wider.
And that is safe. Close to the cart path there. We didn't quite get a good angle to see it, but he is good. Noah going for that forehand hyzer line as well. Or I'm sorry, that was Shane.
Looks like he might be trapped pretty close to that tree there.
Calvin with the lower line.
Great skip off the cart path. Love to see that.
That was a risky approach in these wet conditions. If that hit the grass on the left of the cart path instead of the cart path itself, he may not have skipped back in bounds.
Yeah, that easily could have been grabbed up by that thick, wet grass there.
Here's Noah trying to reach the island green and stop before the OB line deep, and he does.
I love this green, Pavvo. You got to get it high enough to get it over the rocks, but you want to stop just short of going into the Catawba River.
This hole in general, as we see Calvin leave it a little bit low and miss the island, he's going to be going to the drop zone on the island. Oh man, that's too bad. His round was going so well. As I was saying, this hole in general just is so indicative of Andrew Duval course design to me. This is like no one else in the world could have designed a hole like this. It's got his style all over it.
Yeah, you have to imagine the creativity it took to walk out on this property and just see that hole. I never would have thought to put that green there or shape the fairway as he's done with the cart paths.
So here we see Caleb's unfortunate lie that, again, is safe because it's casual, and he does get casual relief from it. So he places his marker directly behind the water where his disc is, in line with the basket, which gives him very tricky footing on a very steep and muddy slope, and he decides that isn't safe and opts to instead put his foot in the water.
That's not the first time we've seen that either, is it, Pavvo?
No, it's not. But today is a lot colder than yesterday, so at least it's close to the end of the round. He doesn't have to play that many more holes with a wet foot. And sacrificing the foot paid off. He's right there for a birdie.
Yeah, I gotta love seeing that Oklahoma Christian jersey on the outside of his jacket too. Way to represent while he's still trying to stay warm.
And that was Calvin from the second drop zone on the island trying to save his par, and he did not. Great putt from Noah there. And that's a birdie.
Yeah, the top 10 competitors after this round will earn the honors of first team All-American. Then 11 through 20 will be our second team All-Americans. So that's a big honor that these players are fighting for. You know, they might seem like they're out of it for the win, but I know it means a lot to these players to come in that top 20 place.
And we actually saw 3 birdies on that hole. Pretty impressive for the challenging conditions and challenging course today. As we take one more look at that beautiful birdie putt from Noah. Just a few holes to play. We'll be back after a quick ad break. And we're back. Hole 16, 378-foot par 3. Last year, this basket was on the bridge. Now they have moved it past the bridge, and it is a very tight island green. There's a string line marking the left side of it, tough to see from this drone preview, but you pretty much got to land in the flat part of the grass. Even if you're up on the top of that little ridge there, you're out of bounds.
Yeah, you can also land short on the right side of the creek, or the river, excuse me, and on the left side of the cart path and play it safe, but I wonder how many of our players will see really attack this island green.
I actually don't think you can land on the left side of the cart path. The only safe play is to lay up short right in that grass that you see off to the right of the screen right now.
Yeah, thank you, Pavvo. Right side. Apologize about that.
But if you're going for it, you got to stick the island, and if you don't, there is a very picturesque drop zone in the middle of the bridge.
Yeah, this was one of our more controversial holes, I'd say, last year. We got a lot of feedback about the basket being on the bridge, but we did see 2 aces during play.
Personally, I loved it on the bridge, but take my opinion with a grain of salt because I tend to enjoy golf that others would consider a bit janky.
Yeah, it's different to spectate it than it is to play it, I'm sure.
True that. That's a good-looking line from Calvin. Oh my gosh. Punished on a great shot. That you hate to see that. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, I thought that was a great shot as well there, Pavvo. Looks like he got some extra ground play out there, a little bit fast-paced skip there. I was surprised to see.
So that is 3 out of 4 players going OB off the tee. So we're going to have 3 shots from the drop zone here. We just saw the first one, and here is Noah. His foot slipped a little bit. A bold move trying to step putt that on this wet bridge. And Calvin, that actually flirted with going OB, but he is safe. As you can see that blue disc on the left of your frame there.
Wow, that's literally straddling the line there, Pavvo. No.
And that was for birdie for Shane. That is one of the dirtiest spit outs I've seen. Right off of the pole. I guess it goes back to what I was saying about wet conditions and those being more likely.
Yeah, I was going to say you called that one, Pavvo. The dampness seems to really be affecting the baskets and their catching ability.
And Caleb missing the bogey putt there. Calvin, honestly, pretty fortunate to stay in bounds after his miss from the drop zone there. Frustrating hole for him. Since this is post-produced, we edited it out, but he actually thought he was safe on the drive and walked over to his drive before realizing he was barely OB and had to walk back to the drop zone. He does save the bogey at least.
Well, that really gives you a good idea of how tall this basket actually is. Looks like we have one of Innova's new pole extenders down there on the bottom too.
Noah saves the bogey. And Shane dropping in a disappointing par after he did everything he could to earn the birdie. And Caleb with the double. One more look at Shane's drive here that put him inside of 15 feet. Beautiful drive. As we move on to hole 17, this is now a 445-foot par 3. Last year, this was a much longer par 4. Here you see a small hazard bunker that is unlikely to come into play, but OB line down the left, as you see with the creek, and on and beyond the cart path on the right is hazard.
Yeah, and it's playing on the left side of the cart path here, so cart path and beyond is going to be giving you a penalty stroke.
Shane puts a good move on this one. It might be turning a bit too much, though. Can it come back in? No, not quite. But again, that is hazard. It's not out of bounds, so he still gets to play from there, and he'll have a long look at a par. Noah gets some great distance on this. Come on. Look at... Oh, wow, that was a roller coaster of emotions on that one. I didn't think it was coming back in bounds.
Me either. That was a fortunate skip off the damp, thick grass.
Calvin hanging this one out wide. Looks like he just committed to play for the par there, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to agree, Pavvo. I was going to say that looked like a pretty safe play from him.
Good looking shot from Caleb. Can it stick? No, it cannot. That is OB in the creek on the left. Calvin chipping it up there. And he's going to get the par he played for. Risk reward.
Yep, great shot, low stress, taking it on and moving to the next one.
Caleb taking his relief from where he crossed into that OB creek on the left. This here to save par. Sit down, sit down. Oof. At least it didn't go OB again.
Great effort from Shane.
Yeah, almost got the par despite the penalty stroke.
And because Noah's his back foot there is in hazard, he was actually okay to be putting from there. That was not OB there. He could put his foot and play from that position.
That's an interesting note for players to keep in mind about hazard versus OB. I like that. Caleb with the bogey. This is Shane to save a bogey.
Yeah, this hole was playing a little tougher last year as the green, as you notice, the green gets tight there between the OB line and the pathway. Last year it was a couple hundred or maybe 100 feet further, and that green got even tighter the further down that fairway you went.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the changes this year I'm a fan of, but this hole I would love to see it go back to the way it used to be as a par 4.
You like the tighter green there, Pavvo?
I do. I mean, it was a shorter par 4, so it made players make decisions off the tee about how much to bite off. They could choose to play conservative on the first shot, aggressive on the second, or vice versa. This way, it's kind of just those who have a big arm who can crush it, have a chance at the birdie, and everyone else is kind of just playing for par.
That's a good point.
Anyway, we move on to the final hole of our round here today, hole 18, 818-foot par 4. This hole is extremely demanding. Safe area here in all this grass you see. And the green is an incredibly small island green. And I believe if the rules are the same as last year, players have to stick the green if they want to be able to play from it. In other words, if their shot crosses the green and goes OB on the other side of it, they still have to play from where they crossed on the fairway part of the hole here on the left.
Yeah, that's 100% correct there, Pavvo. I'm not going to call anyone out, but we have heard about some teams with some misplays, and nobody's came forward yet to admit it, but it's a challenging rule to keep track of.
A little bit of an early release there from Noah.
Yeah, and we see another tight tree off this fairway, or off the tee, too, that really makes you commit to either the big wide line or keeping it tight right up the gut.
Yep. And that path that Noah was flirting with there, that is actually OB on the left of it, but he managed to stay just on the right side of it, so he is inbounds.
Tombstone. Great shot from Calvin. He's going to like that approach to the green.
Shane putting the whole body into that one. A lot of height, though, probably cost him some potential distance. I got to imagine he was trying to throw it a little bit lower than that, but he's still in a good position there.
Now we see the tight line.
I love that flex line.
That's a beautiful shot there, Pavvo. And it's further than our other two safe shots. Oh, looks like Shane was able to stay safe as well. Excuse me.
And no reason to attack the island from that far back. He's obviously going to play for a par, as I would imagine most of the players probably are. This green is so hard to stick, even from 200 feet out, that I imagine nobody's really going to go for it from 400 feet out.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. I think we'll see a lot of teams attacking it in our next round of coverage, but here today, I think they're going to be playing it safe.
Wow, that's how that got that huge skip. I saw it happen from T-Cam in real life, but I couldn't see the rock. I was surprised that it got that much of a skip off the muddy ground. Just hit a rock. Caleb playing that layup as well. And now it's going to come down to who can stick it on the island to get that par. Shane up first.
Settle.
And that is out of bounds. There's actually an OB line at the edge of the flat part of the island, so you are not safe even if you stick it on land on that steep hillside you see there. Got to land it on the flat. Great upshot there, and that really gives you perspective. You can see the OB string line on the right there from that catch cam perspective of how tiny this island is. Shane? Oh, I'm sorry. That's Noah. That's two name mistakes. I apologize, guys. Noah almost putting it in there for birdie, and he's going to be there for a par. And this is Shane after that penalty stroke. As you can see, even though his shot crossed over the island, he didn't get to play it from up there. He had to play from back on the fairway where it crossed. Great approach from Calvin.
Yeah, it seems like those back-to-back conservative plays from Calvin are really paying off.
And everybody's pretty close. Looks like we have 3 tap-ins for par and 1 tap-in for bogey. Or double bogey, excuse me. That's how punishing that island is if you don't stick it. It's almost like a double penalty. Yep. Shane with that double bogey. And Calvin and Caleb with the pars. And that's going to wrap up our coverage of this card. As John mentioned in the front 7, though, there were a lot of players on chase card and third card nipping at these guys' heels. And spoiler alert, unfortunately, none of these 4 guys played quite well enough to get the win. Calvin was in contention until his double bogey on hole 12 and his subsequent bogey on hole 15. So we'll take a look at the leaderboard here in just a moment. And there you see the winner of the event, Tanner Young from Cincinnati, shooting even. The hot round of the day was even. And we'll see an interview with him here and a montage of his performance from throughout the round.
Introducing your college disc golf national champion, Tanner Young. Let's go, Tanner!
Yeah, this isn't the first time we've seen a Cincinnati player come from a second or third card for the national championship. Ben Clark, actually in 2017, came from a few cards back to take the title there at the Hippodrome.
I just find it impressive that anyone could shoot even on this course today in these conditions with wet discs and mud everywhere and tricky footing and on and off rain.
It was a rough one, but that's how we qualified, so.
Hey, clutch.
Yeah.
Team disc and dat.
You know, he exhibited some extreme mental fortitude to tough it out during those conditions today. That's very impressive performance.
And that's going to wrap it up for our singles coverage at the College Disc Golf National Championships. But we do have one more round of coverage coming your way tomorrow. That's going to be the teams finals, where we'll get to see all 18 holes of this challenging course, the Gorge, at North Cove. We'll see you for the final round.